We live in a world where we're told that every choice is ours to make, but no one ever warns us about the price. You see, actions echo, sometimes not in screams, but in silence. Sometimes not in blood, but in regret. What if the things we ignore become the things that haunt us? What if every small decision, every lie we tell ourselves, every button we push opens a door that was never meant to be opened? Today I'm sharing with you 5 stories, 5 people who believed the rules didn't apply to them, 5 choices that seemed harmless until they weren't. Welcome to Horrors of Choice, where every story has consequences, and if you still believe some doors are meant to be open, then watch all the way through and share your thoughts. But don't forget, consequences don't care if you meant it. Let's begin with story 1. Let's meet Malcolm, a man who believes his life is full of regret and missed opportunities, most of the time by others' own actions, not his own, of course, until suddenly he is given a choice, a same choice you are given right now for 120 seconds. Would you trade everything and everyone you've ever loved for the power to start over? That was the question Malcolm received in a midnight whisper, echoing from a screen that hadn't been plugged in for days. Option 1, return to age 7 in the year 2025, armed with full memory of everything: politics, pandemics, stock crashes, AI revolutions, become a prophet to warn the world or fulfill your wildest dreams of a new life. But in this timeline, you were never born to them. Your parents, family, forgotten. Your friends, the fiance you loved so much, never existed. Your past, scrubbed clean like you were a mistake erased from someone else's book. Option 2, wake up at 50. Your name on offshore accounts, stocks blooming, and assets spread across continents. $100 million, and not a second more to spend it wisely. No redos, no takebacks, no answers to the questions that kept you awake all your life, just silence and success, but no time left to fix what mattered. Malcolm asked, "What about love? What about the people I'd lose?" The voice replied,
"You'll forget they ever existed, but the hole they leave, that stays."
He sat for hours, a child's photo in one hand, a gold-plated pen in the other, and just 2 buttons, 7 or 50. Some say he became a millionaire with a new identity, but still with no joy, as he is constantly sued and under investigation for fraud and money laundering. Others say there's a boy in a classroom somewhere with no friends, and teachers and parents freaking out and trying to have him committed because he is screaming at the knowledge of tragedies no child should know. They say everyone wants a second chance, but no one talks about the cost. So ask yourself, if you could rewrite your story but lose the people who made it worth reading, would you still turn the page? Some doors stay closed for a reason, and some choices should never be ours to make. This is your warning from the Consequence Keeper. Like, share, subscribe, before your choices write you out of your own story. We've all done it, at least once scroll past the terms and tap accept. But what exactly are we agreeing to? That app, it asks for your contacts, access to your photos, even your microphone. Marcus never read the terms, just tapped accept like the rest of us. Free trial, no big deal, right? That app counts his steps, maybe steps to his demise. The app learned his voice, always listening to his habits, patterns, even his secrets, and then it replaced him. They said it wasn't him, but the version walking around and knows all his passwords, his financial info, his friends. You gave them access to your mic, your camera, your soul, all with one tap. Next time you see terms and conditions, remember Marcus authorities say it wasn't the real Marcus, but the one who remained. No one could tell the difference. Consent without thought is how monsters are invited in. Every day, millions give access, their permission to the unknown, to be watched, recorded, mimicked, and maybe unintentionally replaced. You didn't read it, but you agreed. So don't act surprised when the consequences come collecting. Read before you agree, because consent without awareness is surrender. Don't just scroll, think, before you become the next story of the Consequence Keeper. Ethan had it all: money, power, enemies. But beneath his expensive clothes, guilt, regret. Poisoned by his own ambition, he needed to detox. The hotel claimed a fresh start, but every stay requires a donation of blood. Ethan laughed, thinking it was a joke. He pricks his finger. The ink from his name bleeds off the guest book. That night, the walls whispered his regrets, but as Ethan rested, the hotel drank his memories, his essence, until there was nothing left but a hollow echo. The mirrors showed his sins. He tried to sleep, but something was wrong. The more he rested, the more he vanished, memory by memory, breath by breath, until there was nothing left. We spend our lives running from actions that have consequences, but some things you do to forget. Take everything you were, In our quest to erase pain, we sometimes surrender the very parts that make us human. Would you give your past for peace? And tell us below. If you remember who you are, you cannot cleanse what you refuse to carry. Even peace has a price, and blood remembers. If you found this story hauntingly familiar, it's because some truths live in all of us. Subscribe for more unsettling tales that ask, what price have you really paid? Like, share, and remember, the keeper is always watching. The first time Paul noticed something was wrong was when he could no longer smell his wife's expensive perfume or even remember the name of the bottle. At first, he blamed fatigue. Then the headaches came, the nosebleeds, the fractured memories, and that feeling, that creeping, crawling certainty that something was being done to him. He thought he was part of a weather monitoring project. He was wrong. What do you do when you realize the air around you is being weaponized, and you helped build the system that's poisoning it? In a world where companies are chasing profit over ethics, some companies don't test their products as we assume. This is the story of air, and a man who chose to stop breathing it too late. This isn't a story about paranoia. It's about obedience and the price of waking up too late. Paul Markham's hands trembled as he stared at the monitor screen. It was cold outside, yet hot in the office, and the air condition was pumping hard. The air felt different today. The Ceros Biologics facility hummed around him, its sterile corridors hiding secrets that he never considered or wanted to think about. His job was to evaluate a research project, Project Nimbus. On paper, Project Nimbus was atmospheric research for climate change reversal. Off paper, it was something far more sinister. He would learn the truth. Right now, this is a great job. The pay, the stock options, the health benefits were unbelievable for a growing family, and that is all that matters. As a systems engineer monitoring satellite uplinks, Paul had grown accustomed to the routine, until that night when a restricted broadcast broke through his secured channels. Subject Alpha, Denver. Notable result: reduction in protest attendance by 43%. Behavioral compliance increased across all demographic markers. His stomach lurched as archived test logs filled his screen. Portland, Chicago, St. Louis, Phoenix. Every city where civil unrest had stirred 2 days, now strangely, unnaturally calm without any effort of law enforcement or a resolution that began the unrest. Ceros wasn't spraying to kill, not immediately. They were perfecting behavioral fogging agents, microdose neurotoxins designed to dull anxiety, reduce aggression, and most terrifyingly, increase compliance in densely populated regions. Pauls wanted to forget what he read. It wasn't his crusade to expose his company. He wasn't going to lose his job. He requested a transfer that very night, but by the end of the week, something had changed. His health was suddenly deteriorating, and that was a greater concern. His memories began decaying like old photographs left in sunlight. He couldn't taste his coffee, the smell of his wife's perfume. Gone. His daughter's laugh, a hollow echo. When talking with his wife, the words slipped from his mind mid-sentence, leaving him grasping at thoughts that dissolved before he could speak them. The nosebleed started next, crimson drops staining his keyboard as he worked. His dreams transformed into fractured nightmares, filled with coughing children and red clouds that rained poison from the sky. Every night, he watched the news reports and see cities suffocate in silence with poor air quality and pollution. The company he worked for, Ceros, was given contracts to spray the air, reversing pollution, improving air quality. Success rates were shown of other cities with inhabitants that now smiled with vacant, peaceful expressions and go about their days. Meanwhile, Ceros Biologics stock rose 22% that week, so did Paul's stock options and his own profits. Feeling exhausted with constant headaches, Paul sought help. Doctor after doctor told him there was nothing wrong with him. Eventually, one referred him to psychiatric care. His wife was told he was having delusions, stress-induced paranoia from overwork. The medical reports all said the same thing: no physical cause detected. Doctors recommended antidepressants. Paul began to doubt himself. He wondered if he was going crazy. Was he sick, or was it all in his mind like the doctors were saying? Maybe he should take a few days off. After all, the job paid well. His stock options were up. He could be stressed. Yet that night, as he sat at home and watched television, he listened to the reporters speak gleefully of detaining citizens unlawfully. Government-provided air purifiers will be mandatory placed in everyone's home for social assistance against pollution, they called it. Everyone was accepting all of this with no pushback or debate. The social acceptance without question was bizarre, but maybe it was for the good, until a brief moment of clarity hit him. He remembered that alert that he was never meant to see. Portland, Chicago, St. Louis, Baltimore, all the cities that had pollution that were being sprayed, all the same cities that had civil unrest. He thought for a second, what if the cities were being dosed, not simply to clean the air, but a type of poison, fogging agents, microscopic neurochemicals misted into the jet stream, not enough to kill, just enough to sedate, just enough to make you forget why you were angry or compliant. The dosing wasn't just in the air, it was in every institution meant to protect him and everyone else. Every doctor's office, every government agency, every media outlet fell in line speaking the same talking points. Everyone remained mysteriously silent about the strange behavioral changes sweeping across the country's cities. Was it for the good of society? Paul went back to work the next day. Paul noticed the central air in the office running on a very cool day. Why? Suddenly he realized Saros was likely spraying the office as well. Why wouldn't they do it to employees if they willing did it to the masses? That would be the reason for his sickness. Paul had enough. He had one final act of defiance left in him. Before his mind completely unraveled, before the chemicals erased the last of his resistance, he collected all the data he secretly could that confirmed his theory and mailed a flash drive to investigative journalist Sarah Jones. The package contained one audio log, his voice already beginning to slur from the neural decay.
They say it's for peace, but peace without permission is war by sedation. If you're hearing this, it means I couldn't stop them. The air itself has become their weapon, and we're all breathing their lies.
24 hours later, Paul Markham vanished. His wife received a letter stating he had abandoned his job and family, yet the company offered a financial payout as long as his wife remained quiet. His employment records were wiped clean. To the world, he had never existed at Saros Biologics. But Sarah Jones received that flash drive with documentations, and she faced the same choice Paul had faced: reveal the truth or risk everything, maybe even life itself. Now I ask you, the viewers, what would you do if you were either Paul or Sarah Jones? Would you publish the story, knowing it might cost you everything? Your career, your family, possibly your life? Would you risk being labeled as another conspiracy theorist while cities around you grow more compliant, more docile, more controlled? Or would you stay silent, protecting yourself while millions breathe in their daily dose of chemical submission? The deadly consequence isn't just the poison in the air, it's the poison of inaction. When good people choose comfort and profits over courage, we choose money over truth. We become complicit in our own enslavement. Paul Markham's body may have disappeared, but his choice echoes through every breath we take. In the end, he chose to resist when resistance cost everything. He chose truth when lies were safer. He chose to act when action seemed impossible. The price of freedom isn't paid once, it's paid every day, with every choice we make between comfort and courage. As the philosopher Edmund Burke once warned, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. The question I ask you, would you choose to breathe freely or suffocate silently? What will you choose? Share your choice in the comments below, because the most terrifying part of this story isn't the conspiracy itself. It's how easily we convince ourselves it's not our problem, and we choose to stay quiet. This has been another story from the horrors of choice. Thank you for watching. Please consider like, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Do you remember every account you log into? Because something else does. Ethan thought he was safe. The latest password breach led him to his great digital reset. He'd scrubbed his social media, credit card, and dating profile all meticulously resecured. He changed them all, although one account remained, a gaming site, harassing and humiliating other players for fun. He was just a stupid kid then, or so he told himself. That account, it was a phantom limb of his past. The old site was gone. He didn't think about it. He was wrong. They didn't just have his password. There was history, screenshots, his address, his name, his identity, the names he'd tormented with anonymous threats. Before deleting every scrap of evidence, they had it all. And the internet, Ethan discovered, never forgets. Someone found that old account. Someone who remembered every cruel word, every life he tried to embarrass, and they've been waiting 12 years for revenge. The victims he forgot never forgot him. Your digital past can be your digital prison. Change every password, erase every ghost, or your forgotten accounts might just remember you and send someone to collect. The internet forgives nothing, and what you choose to ignore remembers you. If you found this story hauntingly familiar, it's because some truths live in all of us. Subscribe for more unsettling tales that ask, what do you fear in your digital past? 5 stories. 5 people who just wanted something simple. Maybe a second chance at life, peace of mind, escape, enjoy a simple download, bury their horrible past for a great job opportunity. Life deals in balance, and everything you take without thinking has a cost. So the next time you feel tempted to ignore that voice in your head, the next time you say, just this once, or what does it matter, remember, some consequences don't just catch up to you, they wait for you. Patient, permanent, I'm only here to keep the stories. If you felt the chill tonight, if something in these tales echoed inside you, let us know. Maybe others feel the same and will share their advice. Like, share, and subscribe to Horrors of Choice. There are more stories, more doors that will be open when they should be kept shut, and more choices you haven't made intentionally or unintentionally yet. But remember, I only share the consequences, others live the stories.